are planning to start a blog, one of the most important decisions that you are going to make is with regard to your blog hosting provider. For context, your blog host provider provides you with web server space where your blog or website content lives. When you start a blog hosting provider will ensure that your blog content is available to the people that you are seeking to write for. And in this case, it keeps or stores your files or other content, and it becomes accessible to people or to the public from anywhere across the world. That is how it works, which is why even for yourself, you are able to access information online. For example, if you go and Google for anything, you get that content coming up on the web pages. This is how information is stored on the internet, which makes it easy for you to even access the information that you try to Google for. So if you want to be able to have your content available to the people across the world, then you need to get the services of a blog hosting provider. And in this particular video, we are going to discuss tips or ideas that you need to consider when it comes to choosing your blogging hosting provider. First thing you need to consider is your needs. When it comes to seeking the hosting provider for your blog, you need to identify what it is that you are seeking. This requires you to ask yourself a few questions. How much traffic are you going to expect? What kind of content are you going to produce? Is it going to be heavy on images? Is it going to be heavy on videos? And also, are you seeking to do any sort of special functionalities like e-commerce or selling stuff online? That will determine the kind of hosting that you need or the kind of space that you need for your blog or for your blog content. Second item to consider is for you to evaluate your hosting option. Now that you have already identified your needs and you know the kind of functionalities that you require, this will guide you in terms of the hosting that you need. And then the next step is to figure out what kind of option for you to choose. There are a number of web hosting options that you can pick from. The first one is shared hosting. This is one of the most common and popular type of web hosting, and you'll find a lot of bloggers use this particular one. However, this is not ideal for websites that have a lot of traffic. And in this particular one, you are going to share your server with very many other bloggers. But at least it is affordable. Another web hosting solution is the one where you have dedicated hosting. This is a very advanced form of blog hosting, and actually it's one of the most expensive. This is because you will have a server all to yourself. This blog hosting option is very good for big businesses or if your website has a lot of traffic per month. You will need probably to move away from shared hosting and actually get a dedicated server that will serve you in a better way. Another option that you can also look into is the VPS hosting or virtual private server hosting. This is a more advanced type of blog hosting and may require you to have a little bit more technical knowledge about these things. And it is also good for websites that have a lot of traffic. And if you are starting out, probably your site has no traffic. So I would not recommend that you look at these high-end kind of solutions, but at least you can start with shared blog hosting and then grow from there. Probably a few years down the line, you may have grown your blog into a big business, or you may have a huge enterprise that is based on the blogging business. The number three thing to consider is the essentials that come with your web hosting solution. In this particular case, you are looking at some basic functionalities or at least essentials that you need for the package that you are going to get. For example, you will need to ensure that there is security with whatever solution that you pick. You need to know whether you are going to get customer support in case you have any issues. Can you be able to talk to them? Can they also be able to provide you with support? You also need to consider uptime because you do not want to have situations whereby your blog is offline. You want your blog to always be available for your visitors. You want your audience to be able to get to your content whenever they are able to look for it or whenever they are seeking the services that you are providing. Another important thing to consider when it comes to essentials is also to look for backup and store. Do they do it for you or do you need to do it by yourself? All these are things that you need to consider when seeking a good blog hosting solution provider. Fourth factor to consider is the price of your blog hosting. This is very important because most of them do not come cheap. It is not free to get blog hosting. While you may get into some sort of packages where you pay for something else and blog hosting is one of them, it is good to know how much you'll be paying for it. This is because you also need to manage the cash flow either of your business or for your blog. You need to know whether you'll be paying monthly or annually and the specific amount that needs to be paid. This is part of the process when it comes to building a blogging business. It will involve some expenses, and while they may be little or they may not be much compared to other startup costs, they are still expenses that you need to take care of. You need to know these numbers because if you are running this blog as a business, then you need to know how much you're investing into it so that when it comes to the time when the blog will be making money, then you might be able probably to write off the expenses that you have incurred, or you will also be able to generate or have a clearer picture of your P&L or your profit and loss account. That's why it is important to know the number. You need to know the price that you'll be paying for your blog hosting. Fifth point to consider is scalability. And what I mean by scalability is the fact that as your blog grows, you need your web hosting provider to grow with you. You need to be able to have a package that can be able to host or that can be able to manage your increasing needs. So if you start with a certain threshold in terms of traffic, what happens when your blog traffic increases? Your blogging provider be able to scale up your package, or can it handle that particular increase? As your blog grows, you will need a blog hosting provider that grows with your needs. For example, if you have started at a level where you have a threshold for traffic, what happens when the traffic increases? You need to have a provider who will be able to offer you either solutions that can help you upgrade if that need arises. You may also need to look at other additional things, for example, like RAM or storage. If that is not available, then you need to get another web hosting provider. It's important to think about these things when you are at the beginning of your blogging journey. When you're just setting up or creating your blogging business, you need to have this whole bigger picture so that when that time comes and you have grown your blog, you are not then caught up in a situation whereby your hosting provider cannot be able to give you opportunities to scale. Picking the right blog hosting provider is a very crucial decision as you start your blogging business. In fact, if you would want to learn more about how blogging works, or how you can start a blog and build it as a business where it is making money, tap or click on the video on your screen right now. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.